In the early days of the 20th century, the Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy was in a remote part of the Caucasus, and he's sitting across a campfire from these tribesmen. And they start to talk about the great men of history. He tells them about Caesar, he tells them about Charlemagne, he tells them about Napoleon. And as he tells them these stories about these great conquerors and kings of history, they stop him and they say, "But you haven't told us about the greatest man of all." And he's confused for a second, and he says, "Who are you talking about?" And they say, "The man whose deeds were as strong as rock and whose words rang out like thunder." They were talking about Abraham Lincoln. And this stuns Tolstoy. He's thousands of miles away from America. Lincoln has been dead for many years. He hasn't met Lincoln. It's not like these people would have learned about Lincoln in history class. But then he thinks about it a little bit more, and he comes to the conclusion that Lincoln is, in fact, the greatest man of all time, because he didn't simply conquer things on the battlefield. He didn't make a huge fortune. He didn't just say beautiful things. He did it for a reason, right? His deeds were in pursuit of something fundamentally noble. And actually, Lincoln would say something very similar himself. He said, "A man of ambition will make slaves of other men or free other men." It hit me as I'm standing here in Parque Lincoln, a park named after Lincoln in the middle of Mexico City, that we all understand at some level that Lincoln's greatness is rooted in the fact that his ambition wasn't intrinsically selfish, that he fought for a cause larger than himself, that he wasn't trying to expand an empire, but to keep a country together, that he wasn't trying to subjugate people, but in fact free people from subjugation, that he came from nothing, but not to achieve some enormous fortune or mansion that he enjoyed for himself, right? But that he clawed himself out of poverty and he educated himself ultimately in service of his country. And this is what Tolstoy realizes. This is why there's parks named after him all over the world. It's why he's one of my heroes. It's why he is the main figure in the new book, Wisdom Takes Work. Because ultimately, it's not just that you are learning. It's not just that you are courageous. It's not just that you are disciplined. But what is it all for? What is it all rooted in? And it has to be rooted in doing good for the world and doing good for others. And the fact that across the street on the other side of the park is a statue of Martin Luther King, who fought for civil rights, not in this country, but in another country. And yet, in doing so, he sets a moral example that resounds all over the world. That's the kind of ambition that the Stoics were trying to cultivate. That's what we have to try to cultivate. That's what makes for true greatness. That's what it means to be a person of virtue and to live a life of virtue.